Welcome to the Signifying Donkey Show, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'd like to discuss Benjamin Netanyahu's handling of the Israeli-Hamas war, or what I believe has become the beginning stages of World War III. First, I felt it was appropriate for me to do a little research on Mr. Netanyahu, his background, what may have contributed to his decision-making over the years, his approach to how he's handling this crisis. So one of the things that was interesting to me is that he was born in Israel. He was the first Israeli prime minister born in Israel post-Israel declaring its independence. So, he's homeborn, and he's someone who's lived most of their life in Israel. I find it interesting. He got his degree from MIT, so he has been to the United States. So it's interesting to me what influences he's had over the years that helped him decide how he should approach this crisis. So one of the things that I think is important to acknowledge is that what happened on October 7th of this year, 2023, was horrible. It was something that, I would never wish on anyone. The people of Israel, the Palestinians in Gaza. I think it's horrible what those terrorists did. But I had to think about this from several different angles before I was comfortable speaking about it, because there's so many complexities that have been in place for centuries where that part of the world is concerned, where the religious dynamics, the political dynamics are very complex. So I gave some thought and I asked myself, if the cartels in Mexico had perpetrated a similar terror on the people of America, crossed the southern border and taken hostages and did all of the things, I don't want to repeat everything, some horrible things were done to the people of Israel. So, I won't rehash that, but just think of it in those terms, just to try to look at it from a different way. And then the cartel, terrorists, if you will, after they transport the hostages to a zone somewhere near the southern border, what would the U.S. do? Especially if the hostages were mixed in among the civilian population in Mexico. Now, I know I'm oversimplifying things because there's a lot of dynamics with the West Bank. There's a lot of dynamics with the various borders of Gaza that I can't, accurately make a analogy for, but I just want to look at it from that angle. And when I do, I ask myself, what would Joe Biden do? And then I also have to ask myself if what Benjamin Netanyahu is doing at this point in time is an effective approach from a diplomatic standpoint. Let's deal with not politics, but diplomacy for a minute. Bear with me. The concern I had, first, let me make one thing clear. I love the people of Israel. I love Jewish people. I love people of all religions. I love Islamic people. I love Palestinians. So my approach here is I'm not going to take a side. And I'm very disappointed when I see people either taking a side for the Palestinians or for the Jewish people. People who want to just be on one side or the other, that's why we have so many problems in this world. And that's why we're on the verge of World War III. In addition to on the verge of a civil war in the United States of America, allegedly, if you listen to some people. I don't believe we're on the verge of civil war, but it's been discussed. It's been discussed on credible news sources this year. But again, is this just the Israeli-Hamas war? or with the U.S. firing shots into Syria yesterday, has this become World War III? I think it has. I think we're at a point of no return here. And I think some of the fault lies with Benjamin Netanyahu. And the reason that I'm not, let's just take a pause here before you say, well, what happened on October 7th? My concern is how safe are Jewish people all over the world going to be after the Israeli military completes its mission? If the goal is to occupy Gaza, which I think is a mistake. I think a two-state solution would be the best approach. By the way, I found it interesting when I did a little research on Mr. Netanyahu, on Prime Minister Netanyahu, that he was a captain in the Israeli military and participated in the Yom Kippur War. So he has battle experience. So that made me wonder, was this his goal all along? Was he waiting for Hamas to do just enough for him to justify saying, okay, it's time for me to do what I've always wanted to do, and that's slice and dice Gaza? I'm forced to speculate, because what he's doing, once you say you want to wipe Hamas off the face of the earth. So let's just say you achieve that goal in the next 6 months or the next 6 years. Do you think there's not going to be another Hamas? Please learn from the United States of America's mistake. We thought when we started bombing Afghanistan after 9/11 that we were going to wipe Al-Qaeda off the face of the earth. And then we got real close to that point, and then ISIS popped up. So you kill one enemy sometimes and create another. And my concern is, I don't like to see Palestinians or Jewish people all over the world in danger because of what's going on in the Middle East. So that's, I'm just trying to, if we're going to address this, let's look at it from all angles. Let's not take sides. Let's not say the Palestinians are wrong. I mean, what were the Palestinians supposed to do? I have another analogy for you. Let's say, there was a Black Lives Matter terrorist group, which some news media have perpetrated this fraud that there is a Black Lives Matter terrorist group. I've never seen it on social media, out and about, marching or anywhere. But let's just say one existed, and they perpetrated a crime on a much lower level, or a terrorist act similar to what happened October 7th in Israel. And those those imaginary Black Lives Matter terrorists, they went back to where they were with their hostages in the Black community. There are still Black communities. So would the U.S. government, would the Biden administration take the same approach and say, we have to wipe Black Lives Matter off the face of the earth, and if a few innocent Black folks get killed in the process who weren't members of Black Lives Matter, oh well. I'm just trying to figure out how this is an effective long-term solution. Because what's going to happen when, like I said, when Israel gets the end of what its ultimate goal is here, and let's say they're occupying Gaza, and let's just say hypothetically the United States is still backing them with weapons, ammunition, funding, then so are we going to have to support Israel occupying Gaza for an extended period of time? There are some very serious dynamics that are rolling out here that really concern me. So this is something I'm going to revisit with my co-host, Tori, and we're going to talk about this in as soon as possible. But her and I, we have so many things to discuss. We have to talk about the recent election, because I was riding all around trying to vote last Tuesday, and so I want to tell you guys about that experience. It was kind of funny, but it just goes to show that voting can be a challenge. So I want to share that with you, and we got some other stuff that we want to discuss with you. We still want to get to climate change. It's just so many things, so many pressing things going on. It's hard to address The other pressing things like the environment and immigration and the southern border, I have to get to that. So, but at this point, I'm going to come back, and we're going to obviously we're going to have to deal with this situation in Israel and Gaza. This is not going to end anytime soon, and I want to continue to talk about it. And let's say, hey, let's feel free to comment. Go to the comment section. Tell me how I should open my mind up, like to understand, like what do you think Benjamin Netanyahu's ultimate goal is here? How is what he's doing gonna fix a problem that's been in existence for over a century? Or is there going to be a situation where after Hamas is annihilated, is Israel going to be under attack even worse than ever before and with no end in sight? So these are things we need to discuss and start putting some pressure on our politicians to take these things into consideration before we just start cutting checks to different countries. So I don't know what the Biden administration's plan is, but if you're just going to blindly give money to Israel, there needs to be some conditions, or else you'll have blood on your hands as well. Thank you for your support. If you like this video, please hit the like button. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe, because I'm going to keep this coming. I'm not going to stop. This isn't about me getting rich.